imagine in the schools of your country teaching together with maths and biology, teaching their students how to use guns. That's a reality in Poland. And you understand why they're adopting that policy and what does that has to do with ESG. Welcome to the channel. My name is Lena Sakai. I'm Green Business Post editor, and today you're going to understand about the first country in Europe that adopted the policy to implement a class of learning how to use guns, how to shoot, and in its schools for the young students, the adolescents, and everybody needs to take that class. That country is Poland, a country that's just next to Ukraine, and that has everything to do with the Ukrainian invasion. And the Ukrainian invasion showed a failure on ESG policies. ESG policies are against the militarization, the investment on the defense sector. They believe that defense sector, the militarization, is responsible for wars, for creating violence. But the Ukrainian invasion showed the opposite, and that's why Poland and other countries are adopting initiatives of militarization, investments on militarization. So let's first understand Poland and understand why they're doing this, their logic behind it, and why ESG is seen as a failure in Europe after Ukrainian invasion. So here we can see a kid. It's a real picture. It's a video about this Poland's kids. Kids, we say it's adolescents. They say it starts with 13 years old that they can practice, learn how to shoot guns and real guns. You can see it's really a big gun here, but don't worry, it's not, they don't shoot anything, no material that can harm anyone. It's a laser that they shoot, and they need to target a sensor, a, a screen sensor that will show them where they hit. So they're really training to hit a target, to train their abilities, their skills on guns. They really are, but they don't have this risk of harming of any kind of accidents because there are no bullets, no material to shoot. It's a laser, and but everything works the same. So that's how they are teaching these students, and the students are saying they're really like happy, it's fun, and they're really enjoying this because kids nowadays, the young generation, they are really in contact with games that has shooting, and when they get the real gun, like it might like be like, wow, now I'm really holding a gun. So everything was digital and now it's real. So young people like this kind of new experience, new abilities, and they say it's like training on those sports of shooting the target that we saw on the Olympic Games. They say it's like that, and the teachers, they really are excited because the goal is to have more people to defend their country, to know how to defend the country because they feel threatened of Putin, threatened of the Ukrainian invasion. They are just next to Ukraine, and I'm showing you this on the map. Here we have another news on it. They say children here, but in the other news they say it's from 13 years old, so it's adolescents, not children anymore, and they've been trained, here you can see, for the fear of Russian invasion. So it's about the Ukraine invasion. And here they put like this image of bullets, but there are no bullets in the training. It's just lasers, really. And here we have another news. There is another initiative to improve their defense. The country is offering basic military training to its citizens. The Poland army is offering training for citizens who wants. It's like voluntary. Everybody who wants go there and train the military tactics, how to use a gun. So the population above, not children, above certain age. You can see here from 18 to 65 years old. So it's basic training, we can see, and that's how they're improving their policy on the defense of the country. And why they want to defend their country, I'm going to show you here in the map. You remember that Ukraine was invaded by Russia. Here is this huge one, just next door to Ukraine here. It's in the division, they're near next to each other. And Poland, we saw on the news when it happened, Ukrainians, they were escaping from the attacks from Ukraine, and Poland received them in their country so that they can protect themselves. But Poland is very close to the war. As you can see, they are just next door, and Russia, Putin, the leader Putin, threatened everyone that was trying to improve their militarization. But the country saw that they really needed to improve their defense, because if they would not improve, Putin could invade them anyway. So that's the logic that you need to understand, that goes against ESG, and that's why the countries, they went against this ESG logic, and they saw it was a failure, a logic that was wrong. So what's this logic? So let's understand the logic behind the ESG and why the countries in Europe understood that it was wrong. So when the Ukraine was hacked, Putin was threatening everyone, thinking he could like invade everyone. And why? Because there was this policy of ESG that was against investing in the defense sector, so invest on guns, on bombs, on defense equipment, and these companies that produce these equipments, because they believed that they were responsible for the violence and for creating wars. But uh, in the military world, everybody knows that that's not true. So let's understand. The logic of having the defense is like what countries do, and it's the reason why nuclear bombs will never cease to exist, because and that's why we don't see like a war from like Russia and China against the United States attacking the United States, because they know the United States, they have a bomb here, nuclear bomb, and they can use it against them. So they see that as a threat. They cannot, it's not easy to attack them because they have a strong defense. So they need to think very hard how they're going to attack, or if they're going to attack. And until now you haven't seen them attacking really, because they know that United States have a very strong defense. So that defense makes the enemy, the aggressor, the attacker, not to attack, not to initiate violence, make them think, and that thinking makes them talk. So it prevents violence. So it's the opposite. They do not cause the violence. Like Putin. Putin is a bad person and wants to steal resources from other countries and enslave people. He's a person that wants to attack and start a war. So it's not this sector, it's not the guns, not the companies of guns that start wars. They are very controlled by the governments. Everything they create, the governments, they need to know, and they're all the time auditing these army companies. They create these dangerous equipments, and it's all very controlled. That's why you don't see this equipment everywhere, because it's really controlled. So the sector does not create the war. It's the defense sector prevents the war, the violence. And here in Sustainable Development Goal, number 16, it says that in the target 11, calls on relevant national institutions, including the international cooperation, to prevent violence and combat terrorism and crime. Here in the prevent violence is exactly this too. If you invest in your defense sector, you prevent violence. The enemy won't attack because you have a very strong defense. He will need to think, and he won't use the violence like easily or never attack. So this Ukraine invasion, you can see the countries are going against this policy of demilitarization. Here you can see that the largest bank in Sweden, here the Skandinavska is Kuda. They because of this Ukrainian invasion, they they changed and they once again authorized to buy shares in army manufacturers and defense companies because they understood this logic, the real logic behind the defense sector, that is the opposite of what ESG believes. And that's why some countries want to join NATO. Sweden, Finland, they were considering to join NATO, and they were threatened by Putin not to join NATO. Why Putin was threatening them not to join NATO? Because their defense would increase, and that would be difficult for him to try to dominate them too. So you see, if that was not true, Putin wouldn't react to that, right? So what did you think about this news, the Poland policy? Comment here to share your view, to share information that you know and I haven't talked about and might benefit the community. Share here in the comments. If this content added to your repertoire somehow, support the channel for free by liking and sharing the content with people that might benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe in our newsletter in the description, because the social media not always deliver the notification to everyone. This was the content of today. Green Business Post: Responsible Impacts for Sustainable Communities.